Week 10 of Aon's Public Affairs podcast was recorded June 10th, 2020.
Hello, everybody. Week 10 Public Affairs podcast. Daniel Sirota out of the Chicago office. I hope everyone is well and safe out there. I am excited to be joined week 10 with my colleague, Lori Golterman, CEO of Commercial Risk and Health. Lori, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Daniel. So great to be here. I'm excited to dive into the topics of the day, and we've been alongside one another all through this pandemic. So this is great.
Well, and you were the one with Nancy Green, who was week 1 to get me going on podcast. I don't know if this was a mistake or rocking and rolling week 10, and we're going to continue to drive forward, which is exciting.
I think it's great.
So, Lori, elephant in the room, we're in a pandemic. This is something that we didn't see coming, that this would be going on for so long. You know, we're having conversations with our clients. We're trying to help them out in innovative ways, as Aon always done. What are some of the innovative solutions, during this pandemic that we've created in working with our clients?
Daniel, it is so surprising that we are entering about week 13. I think it was mid-March when Greg Case sent out the note of everybody globally around Aon work from home. So we quickly pivoted to 50,000 colleagues working from home. And you noticed overnight, we're up to almost 80,000 video connections we have every day with clients. So as we've jumped into something I never thought in my lifetime we would have to do, we're pivoting so quickly to help our clients in their pain points. And they all kind of resolve in two areas. One is, how do we help our clients with their people strategy? That's everything from safety. If you're in the essential workforce of the grocery business, the hospitals, how can we come together as an Aon United team and work with them so that we can make sure their employees are safe as they're working in their new environment? Or how can we build strategies with their CHRO on balancing the very difficult financial stress their companies are in? And they may have to rework their total reward strategy. They may have to furlough employees. They may have to get educated on what's coming out of Washington in terms of programs that they can access and stimulus money. So there was an overwhelming wave of how do we up our game, deliver this new base of knowledge to our clients in a way that helps them in their pain point. And I think one of the most innovative things we did in a matter of weeks was develop a pandemic modeling tool where we basically took anyone's workforce and based on their geographic specific infection rates and the science behind where we're having these infections, we can help an employer see the cases of what we think will happen to their workforce and the corresponding medical costs. So, when that tool came out, Daniel, we had an amazing uptake of clients and states wanting us to help them, manage their workforce, help me understand how this virus is going to impact my people, my colleagues, my community. And I'm really proud of how quickly we pivoted to take that tool even globally, as well as into the workers' compensation. So it's been a crazy 13 weeks, but as I call it, it's kind of your Super Bowl. It feels like that way for all of us. And we're here to try to help businesses continue to operate in a safe environment.
Yeah, absolutely. And based on a lot of the conversation, I think now as state starts to reopen, a lot about return to work. Can you talk about a little bit of what we are doing in that space and how we are engaging with clients?
Yeah, it's really interesting because, as I sit here week 13, I'm actually in our garage that we converted to a bunkhouse. So I have 7,000 people in the Aon organization that I have the privilege to lead, and I'm doing it from my garage and doing a lot of these videos, Daniel. And so, as you start to think about, we call it recovery, coming out of the pandemic, and none of us think it's return to work because we have not stopped working. In fact, I think we're, Mondays feel like Saturday. I'm not sure we know the difference anymore. But as we think about, the recovery framework, we are thinking about it in how do we come back in and address the real estate? So many of us work in a, multi-tenant building. So how can we build strategies to make sure that we are returning to work in the most safe environment? So Aon has actually built a COVID-19 task force team. and we are very much promoting our return to work toolkit. And it's got some really interesting features, one of which is a readiness assessment tool. So that is going to cover both the physical space with the real estate, security, temperatures, but it's also going to help you assess your employee base. And I remember talking to one of my colleagues that leads a big business for us. He feels perfectly fine and healthy to come back to work, but he would be a high risk employee because his wife is actively getting treated for cancer. So, how do we help employers think about the safety of coming back into an office center, but think about it even more broadly than the employee base that's walking in the door every day? And I think, Daniel, the other really exciting is I think there will never go back to the way we worked before. I think we call it the new norm, and we're reimagining the workplace and the workforce. I mean, we've gone to 100% virtual work, and we're thinking to ourselves, when we come back, what should that workspace look like? I think we all would reimagine having these really big and interesting client spaces where we have much more ability to be agile, maybe meet your teams on a Monday in the office, but maybe we don't have to be in the office every day. So our human capital group at Aon has actually organized a strategy to help any client reimagine their workspace and workforce. We had, kind of 7 people immediately say to me, hey, I think I'm going to sell my house and move to Florida. While that sounds good, how do we really manage a virtual workforce and still have what I call the 3 C's: collaboration, culture, and really career development? So I'm excited for all of us to reimagine the new world. I don't think we'll ever think about it the same, having gone 13-week now, working from the garage.
Well, that's for sure. Definitely in the history books of a new experience. That's beyond what we definitely expected. And Lori, as you know, Aon is, a unique, diverse business. We're all over the place. We do so many different things for our clients in various ways that, risk to health to retirement. We engage with carriers, we engage with reinsurers. During this time, how have we supported the big arch strategy, as we call it, Aon United, to help move things forward?
Yeah, Aon United is, something that we've lived by for a very long time, Daniel, as you know, at Aon, but we're refining it and putting that word delivering Aon United so that it really takes it to a new level. And if you think about what is the headline of that, in its simplest form, it's bring the best of Aon to our clients. Everything we do is around our clients. So we have this 4-part strategy of delivering Aon United. The second part is our Aon Business Services, where we are making sure that we take the benefits of scale and our service platforms to support our client work. The third piece is our New Ventures group, which really incubates new ideas. And the fourth is our Aon Impact model, which defines the colleague mission. And so if you think about, how is that benefiting our clients and our colleagues, we are pivoting at a faster pace than we ever have before. And a great example would be industry councils that we've stood up and client councils. So, from a marketing perspective, we probably do 300 client events a year, and you can't physically host those anymore. So we immediately went to virtual, and I attended one just last week that was our retail industry sector. Obviously, through the social unrest that we've had in our society, what started out as pandemic conversations around furloughing employees, how do we keep our business moving more online? Last Friday switched to a very different conversation of how do we protect our people, our assets in the store, while still honoring the protests and the peaceful nature in which people wanted to have a voice on this social unrest. So I never would have thought in this time period working from home, and feel so privileged that Aon is hosting and facilitating that conversation to the point where we were able to take some of our InsurTech knowledge representing insurance companies and say, how can we detect vandalism or some type of physical threat to our store in a way that we can act quickly and swiftly. So I think that it's really been amazing to watch that Aon United culture come to life, where we're quickly listening to our clients of where do you have challenges today and what do we have at Aon that helps make you successful? And that's energizing, Daniel. It's engaging for our colleagues because, they're raising their knowledge base. And I'll tell you, week to week, I don't know what curveballs are coming our way, but it's been fun to really be able to react with speed and have that culture inside of Aon that responds very quickly to helping each other and helping that client.
Yeah, never a dull moment. As you said, every week it seems like a new adventure in this time. And I do want to go back to something you did bring up on the civil unrest. Definitely a hot topic that has been taking full, the topic that has been going on for a very long time. And where do you see a corporate America's role in this? And, going to our role, you talked about it a little bit on our colleague engagement. Where are we fulfilling that obligation to help move that, message forward?
It's been a really amazing journey to open up these conversations. And I would say when I think about corporate America, I start with the individual, and we all are employees and play a role in our company. And I look at, and I'll speak for myself, I started with what I would call one-to-one conversations. And I think for me, a quote someone said was, "Leadership begins when tolerance ends." So that really resonated with me because as I watch the, emotion playing out in every city, it's natural to want to play a role. And I think it starts with trying to listen and learn what's at the root of that emotion. And I've been really touched by the stories when I sit down one-on-one with some of our leadership, our Black colleagues in particular, and ask them how they're feeling. How can I understand your lens? And how can we share with each other how we're feeling? The stories that I'm getting are amazing. Bring a tear to my eye in some cases. One of our colleagues who I thought I knew very, very well, I have 2 daughters and she has 2 boys. And she said, I have to teach them that if they get pulled over, they have to turn on the dome light, put both hands on the dashboard and say, answer any question and take the ticket and move on. And I thought to myself, I'm having a lot of conversations with my children. I have a daughter that's 17, but never would that story cross my mind to have that conversation. So how do I honor and respect the differences that we have in our culture, in our lives, so that we can work together to make this a better society? So allowing those employees to really share more about themselves, I think brings us closer together. So we're doing a lot of what I call listening feedback sessions where we're one-to-one with colleagues, but then one-to-many. And then I think, Daniel, it moves into what can we do about it? And I think inside of our companies, we have something called the business resource groups, where I've been very active in gender equality and our women's network. But as I reflected, I want to get more involved in our Black professionals network and see what we can do. How can we make sure we're recruiting and developing and promoting the opportunities to make our firm better and to bring a diverse team so we can connect with clients, drive those relationships, and really be better in our company and with our clients. And I think we're also taking it into the community. Our Minneapolis office has done a wonderful start to having conversations in the community that starts with a fact-based, let's just look at the facts of our community. Where can we get better? Where can we partner and make connections in our community? And that's inspiring people. We've got a long way to go. Daniel, I don't think we have the answers, but I think the phrase I would say is resonating with me is this time feels different. So we are not going to let these conversations stop. And I like the momentum and I like the movement to peaceful, constructive action with intention to be better.
And Lori, I will add your leadership in this topic and in general for our firm has been tremendous during this pandemic, during this time, et cetera. So I want to say thank you for that because that really means a lot, I think, to our colleagues, but also others out there listening. And Lori, to end, thank you. Thank you for joining the podcast today. I am so happy you were able to join, your insights, your leadership. Thank you so much for being a voice for Aon. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Daniel. And thanks so much for these interesting topics. Love the discussion.
And next week, week 11, we will be joined by Dave Glomet, Global President of Health Solutions. We're going to talk about Work Travel Convene and Coalition Employer-Led happening in Chicago around the return to work landscape and how the recovery toolkit will also come into play. Thanks for joining, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
This information is a resource for Aon clients and business partners. It is intended to provide general guidance of potential exposures and is not intended to provide legal, regulatory, or medical advice. Due to the dynamic nature of infectious diseases, Aon cannot be held liable for the guidance provided. We encourage listeners to seek additional information from credible sources. Thank you.